Hello everyone, it's Benny, and welcome back to the 3D game programming tutorial series. Last time, we got all the pieces in place to implement the core piece of our interaction system. Namely, once we know two things should interact, how do they interact? What interactions do they take part in? We can now make those happen, and it is awesome. So, we're going to do that right now. Let's get to it. Alright, so let's look at the logic. Let's just look at where we are in the logic. Right now, we've already gone through the entities and we've determined this is an intersection. We should be capturing every single intersection, and importantly, we should be capturing that intersection once and only once, which is perfect. So at this point, our job is really straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to go through size t k equals 0, and we're going to go through the entities list, because remember, we have this list of interactors. Yeah. So, in entities sub I, dot interactors dot size. And all we're going to do here is look at all the interactors, and we're going to compare that to entities J's interactees. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do another loop to jkl equals 0, and we're going to do the same thing with entity sub j, except the interactees. So entity j interactees and l++. And I spelled that correctly, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to just copy and paste to be 100% sure. There you go. Now, at this point you might wonder, hey, Benny, at this point, this is a double for loop. Wouldn't that not have great performance implications? And in theory, yes. In practice, it should be okay, because there shouldn't be a huge number of interactors and interactees here. So in practice, the number should be small enough that the double for loop is not an issue. If it's that much of an issue, we can go back and do something about it, but this should be okay. So, at this point, what we're going to do is now we are looking at all the interactors, interactees, and we're not going to do too much in here. It's still a double for loop, so we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to test if entities sub I dot interactors sub L, there we go. I want to know if this is the same as the interactees, entity sub J's interactees sub I used L instead of K, but you get the idea. So, K here. And there you go, this is a big test. If these two match, then we have a match. This entity should be interacting with the other entity, and we should be doing something in here. So, at this point, we know these entities are intersecting, and we know they are supposed to interact. So, all we have to do now is retrieve the interaction and call the interact method. And that's it, then we'll be done. So, first of all, we need the index of the interaction. And that's actually what this is what's in our interactors and our interactees. It's that number. So I'm actually going to just copy this for a moment. I'm going to have a uint32 index equals this. I'm just going to replace it. This way, it just makes the syntax a little bit simpler, in my opinion. So, there. Now that we have all that, what we can do is we can retrieve the interaction. So interaction pointer, interaction, this is going to be interactions sub-index. There you go. Because if you remember, in our class, we have this array of interaction pointers called interactions. Yes. So at this point, what we do need to do is we need two things. And they're both the same sort of thing. They're both arrays of base ECS components. And those are the parameters for the interact method. If I scroll back up for a moment, I'll show you, yeah, our interact method takes in the delta, which we already have, but we also need these two lists of components. So the way I'm going to do this is actually, I'm hinting at it here a little bit, the same thing we did in ECS.cpp for our update system with multiple components. We're going to have an array of base ECS components, and we're going to resize this array as necessary. And that's really the thing we're going to do. We're going to resize it as necessary and just assign each index to what it's supposed to be. One small difference, though, is we don't need, unlike here, we don't need to pass in as a parameter because the process interactions is the entire method. There's no deep secret here. So we can just go straight ahead and create the array. So I'm going to create an array of base ECS component pointer, and I'm going to call this, I'll name it after we'll have interactions. I'll have the interactor components, and I'm also going to have the interactD components. So first thing I want to do here is I want to make sure these are big enough. So interactor components, I'm going to resize. In fact, I might as well just copy and paste. I'm going to copy and paste. All right, sorry about that. I got slightly lost, but I'm back. So we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to copy and paste. There we go. I'm just going to replace that with interactor components. So the math of interactor components.size and our new interaction size. Here's where we're going to have to use the method from the interaction itself. We're going to want to interaction, arrow, and just like we have in the header, we're going to want to use get interactor components. There you go. We're going to do the same thing for interactD. So interactD components, do get interactD components. Perfect. Almost messed up because there needs to be that. So cool. This means our interactors and interactivities should be big enough to hold everything we need. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to borrow some code from compute interactions. We're going to borrow the for loop that looks through the list of interactor components. So there we go. What we're going to do here is going to be totally different. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this part. But this is just a good base code. So first off, we're going to change the iterator variable from I to m. There we go. Here, in get component types, we're going to change, again, I to m. For entity handle, again, we have to get this from the interactor entity, so that will be entity sub I, because entity I is the interactor. And there you go. So now that we have the interactor all set up, all we have to do is really, really simple. Replace this if with interactor components sub m, and that's going to equal this. We don't need a brackets, we don't need a if condition, just very simple this. What on earth does this bracket go to? Ah, okay. So that got tabbed back for some reason. This got... Okay. I'll be honest, I don't entirely understand why this is... Ah, because it's not a new line. Okay, there you go. That makes more sense. So, with that done, that should be all we need to do. If you look at the logic now, we're going through the list of interactor components that the interaction has, the interactions list of interactor components. We're setting those to the ECS. We'll get the entities handle. There you go. It's very straightforward. And we're just going to do the same thing for the interactD. So get interactD components. And just basically swap it around. InteractD components, change this to J, change this to get interactD components. There you go, we've populated the list. As you might imagine now, there's one final step. It's to call interaction. Interact. I know, we're going to pass in the delta. We're going to pass in the interactor components. We're going to pass in the interactD components. And we're done. There you go, just like that. But right now, we have a problem. And that problem is we're only handling half the cases. We handle the case where entity sub I interacts with entity sub j. We do not handle the case where entity sub j interacts with entity sub I. And there's sort of two ways we could go about this. One way is we could go in here and we could just copy it, replace it, copy, paste, and replace the I with j and j with I, etc. Or we can do something a little different. I'm going to change up the I and j variables. I'm going to call it what should I call this? This should be a good thing. Interactor index, sure, equals I. And interactD index equals J. I'm pretty sure I didn't use that anywhere, so this should be safe. So I'm just going to replace anywhere I have I with interactor index. It's going to be as simple as that. So there... Actually, no, this is the third and final place with I. There we go. That makes more sense. So this J and finally this J. That should be everything we need to access there. So yeah, this should be correct. That's perfect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to say for size t, I don't even care what this is called, but I'll call it in. I don't want to call it in. I'm going to call this just dummy index equals 0, because it really doesn't matter. This is just to go through a set number of times. Dummy index is less than 2, dummy index plus plus. There you go. And tab over yet again. But what we're going to do here is we're just going to go through like this. At the end, we're going to swap. So I'm going to say size t temp index equals, I'll just set to sure, it doesn't matter which word I swap in. I'll set this to interactor index. Interactor index equals temp index. Wait, no, I'm doing, excuse me. So I've saved that, so I'm going to set interactor index to interactD index, and finally set interactD index to temp index. There we go. I'm not so tired that I cannot write a swap routine. There you go, but this should go through. So here's what we're doing. We're going through, we're doing the correct update, and then we swap the index. So interactD index is the interactor index is the interactD index. So we're using the same code to do both these cases. And since we're going through it exactly twice, this should work. So in fact, I'll probably just leave a comment for this just to make it clear. Check the other possibility. If the first entity is the interactD instead of the interactor. There we go. And this is really the essential logic. This could probably be cleaned up and refactored a pretty fair decent bit. I'm not entirely happy with the code style of this. I don't think it's terrible, but I think it could definitely be better. But, you know, I'm hoping this will give you a clear idea of the entirety of the logic. Hopefully you can see it's not that much logic, and it fits together reasonably nicely. One minor thing before we move on. Right here, where I'm saying get ECS get component by type, entity sub interactor index. This is not the entity array, it's the entities array. So just fix that here and here. That should fix all the typos. But there's one more thing that I forgot about, and that is here we don't want to pass in the array of base ECS component pointers. We want to pass in a base ECS component double pointer. So to do this, here's what I'm going to do. It's going to take index 0 and take the address of it. That should get me the first index. It's a very common way of converting an array structure or vector structure to an actual literal array. And with that, that is all the logic we need for our interaction world. But that leaves a question. What does this look like in practice? What is it like when we actually start using this? Find out next time! I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned, and I will see you in the next video where we will take our first stab at doing something with the interaction world. Thank you very much, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget, there's a Benny Discord where you can talk with like-minded people, and if you want early access to videos, you can become a patron on Patreon and get exactly that. Special thanks to all my patrons for making these videos possible. And with that, I will see you all in the next video.